Call the meeting to order again.
Okay, Wednesday, special meeting is called,
Thursday, sweetheart.
oh, Thursday. Thursday, special meeting is called to order.
Madam Clerk, call the roll.
You just.
Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Sure. Counselor Austin,
Present.
Counselor Martin,
Present. 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 All right.
Counselor Smith,
Present.
Counselor Stevenson, Counselor Gowdy,
Present.
we have a quorum.
On the,
Okay, Madam,
next on agenda.
okay, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to amend Rule 9, to suspend the rules of the meeting. I'd like to make a motion on Rule 9 to suspend the order.
Is there a second?
Brother Nate, can you explain? This is to
Yeah,
put
I'm
ordinance
moving.
1821 land.
Can you hear me, Brother Smith?
Yeah, I can hear you once I stop talking, brother.
Okay, what I'm doing is we're gonna move the permanent appropriations to the top of the agenda. And we also need to make a motion on 1421, the sewer district thing. And add that to the agenda. The most important thing is let's deal with the permanent appropriation first, and then the order. Is that okay with you guys?
I second.
Hey,
Okay.
can I ask a question
Discussion?
to clarify the motion?
Any discussion?
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yes, I want to make
recognize,
sure the motion is carried correctly. We want to invoke Rule 9 so that we can modify the agenda to move the last item to be the first item.
Well,
Invoke
it's the addition of Mr. Austin, just to change the order. You said it one way, I'm saying, we're saying the same thing, okay?
I got it. Just so we say invoke Rule 9, so we can put Rule 9 in place so we can't change the order of the agenda.
Okay, well, I
Okay,
can
we're
say I move to invoke, implement Rule 9, okay? Is that okay with everybody?
I second.
Okay, call roll on.
any more discussion? Okay, clerk, call the vote.
Counselor Austin,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay!
Counselor Smith,
Yay.
Counselor Stevenson, Counselor Gowdy.
Yay.
Motion to invoke Rule 9 to change the order of business has passed.
Okay, Madam President, I'd like to make another motion. Madam Chairwoman Gowdy, my motion is to amend the order of legislation as it appears on the agenda, so we can change the order. The purpose of this, so everybody understands, to get the appropriation first on the agenda. That's the most important. Then we can take care of the other, then we gotta add, the Northeast Ohio Sewer District. So the purpose of the motion is to change the agenda, the order of the agenda, so we can deal with the legislation. We want to deal with the permanent appropriations first. That's the purpose, if you guys understand what I'm saying, of the motion. Thank you.
We need discussion on this only, we just need discussion on appropriation before we pass.
No, you gotta make another motion yet.
Okay, make the motion first, then we have a
You want
discussion.
to make a motion
Any discussion?
to suspend the 24-hour rule to add on 1421?
Any discussion to suspend the 20?
No, we got.
No, it's a motion already on the floor.
One
Nate,
motion at a time, guys.
Okay,
yes, one motion at a time, please.
all right, I'm just,
No, you-
You have to call the roll on that.
Call roll on that.
call the roll. Call the roll.
Again, this motion is to change to amend the order of legislation so we can put some permanent appropriations first. That's the purpose of this motion. We have to do it that way.
Can I get a second motion?
I
I
second.
already second.
Call the roll.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Counselor Austin,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yeah.
Counselor Smith,
Yay.
Counselor Stevenson,
She's not even.
okay, Counselor Gowdy.
Yay.
Okay.
Motion. The motion to, I'm sorry, the motion to amend the order of legislation on the agenda has passed.
Okay, Madam Chairperson Gowdy, one more motion to waive the 24-hour rule so that we can deal with the Northeast School District legislation. Since it's not on there, it has to wait the 24-hour rule. That's the last motion I have.
Any second the motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Counselor Austin,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith,
Yay.
Counselor Gowdy.
Yay.
Motion to waive the 24-hour rule to address the sewer district legislation has passed.
And before we pass any legislation, I would like to hear from all the department heads for ask the questions.
We have to, excuse me, Madam Chair, we have to amend the agenda again because that's not on here. I'm definitely with you on that, but I just want to do everything correctly.
Thank you, please make a motion. Amended.
Okay, then the agenda, Brother Smith, Austin, and the rest of the council people, so that we have, the first legislation should be 2621, the permanent appropriation. That should be the first piece of legislation we discussed.
No. We want you to amend it to allow the department heads to speak.
Oh,
Yes.
so you want to allow the property to speak? That's fine with
Yes,
me.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Make a motion.
I move that we allow the property heads to speak. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay.
Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Austin,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith,
Yay.
Counselor Gowdy.
Yay.
Motion to,
Allow the
sorry.
department heads to speak.
a motion to allow department heads to speak has passed.
Go ahead, Dolly.
Okay, the first person that I'm asking for is the fire chief.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I would like to ask the mayor first because I want to recognize him. I'm asking you, how was it in past? By the council have not passed this budget, how did it impact this city?
Thank you for the question, Council Vice President. It has impacted this city tremendously. We have had, as the directors will go into it, into their particular departments, how work has literally had to be stopped, had to be called to a complete halt. Work that's in progress, other work that we've been working to execute, grants that we were awarded are stuck in limbo and in a position where we do not want to forego the opportunity of the resources the grant would provide. And this is across multiple departments, including the MLK, which is something we've been working on for 3 years now. Yesterday, we were contacted by Ford Financial, they want their cars back because we have not paid for them. I didn't mean to steal that from you, Mr. Charles, who's the director of finance. So it has impacted us tremendously. The thing that I'm most worried about, as I alluded to last week, the 85% reduction puts us in a place, our overall expenses are higher than they were last year, right? Not just healthcare, but new employees and the fact that we have to bring on the dispatch. So our overall expenses are higher. So when you look at 85% of what we spent last year, we simply won't make it through the month meeting expenses. Now, it's not fair for me not having the budget passed to then say what department gets what. The only fair way to do it is to say whatever a department spent last year, here's 85% of that. And that goes for branches of government, right? So that it's fair, the limited resources we now have because of the position we've been put in. We have done everything on our end as an administration to get you the documents, City Council, so that you can pass them so that we can keep this city up and running, employees paid, services to the residents. So we've done our part. It is now time, please, for you to do your part. And the beautiful thing about this, Council Vice President, is we have the resources to pay for all this. If you would allow the finance director to chime in after that, he can speak better on the finances.
Hey,
Thank you all for having this meeting.
you're welcome. I was told that you did not send some documents, and that's why it was a holdup, but I wasn't determined of what documents that you're supposed to have sent. So this is where we at today. So we can move on with this budget. And I want to thank you.
Thank you.
I just need to see with the fire chief. Here,
Yes. So I take it as the same question, ma'am?
and I would like to ask you the same questions.
So the way this impacts the fire service, we're in a very busy city here in East Cleveland. Our EMS and fire department, our fire engines and trucks run constantly. With this budget being cut or dropped down to where it's at, it impacts on when things need to be repaired. And so without having the full accompaniment of money that the mayor speaks of, then things have to be delayed, which in turn, if something should break, then we don't have the resources to go ahead and recover and have things repaired in a quick enough time. So that also affects our response time. We can't go ahead and utilize mutual aid all day because the cities aren't really willing to do that. So if we have all this money, then if something breaks, we can go ahead and get it fixed in a quick manner so that we can keep things running for the citizens of this community.
Thank you. And the next question is for the police chief. This question.
Thank you, ma'am. My plight is very similar to the fire chief's plight, in the fact that even just our normal payroll is affected by the 85%. There's all sorts of extracurricular things that happen that's beyond our control, homicides and things of that nature. Just barely making payroll without the ability to even budget for any type of overtime is paramount. As the mayor had already lightly touched on, the dispatch not only affects the police department, but also affects the fire department. The fact that our training is severely behind, our dispatchers should have already been in place, should have already been hired. Their training is going to be severely behind at this point. We've had to revamp the entire inside of the dispatch center for construction equipment. I mean, just the extra salary for the dispatchers themselves, the CAD software system. These are all things that are severely behind. We're supposed to be starting our own dispatch in less than a month at this point. We haven't even been able to really get into full construction of the dispatch center. The council would agree, my primary focus, I wanted to reinforce our training. We're unable simply to send any officers to any type of training at this point with the reduction. So I greatly appreciate council looking at this matter because it is very paramount.
I have a question about, are we supposed to be getting another dog?
Well, it was my intention to bring a dog to every shift. I mean, however, that's obviously not going to happen without a budget.
Because I know Captain Jack definitely need his little partner. The next question is for the service department.
Good afternoon again, everyone. The service department is highly affected, but my department, along with Parks and Rec, is affected because the Park and Rec part of it is also the MLK part. We have a lot of work that was done, but we have a lot more work that needs to be done that was put on hold because of the budget. That's been, same with the mayor said, that's been a process for like 3 years. So affected very bad. As for the service department itself, we are on a county contract. So with that county contract with the salt, we have a certain amount of time to purchase so much salt. We are held responsible to lose our contract, meaning that we won't get salt from the county. We get a large discount from the county for salt, and we have about 1,200 tons that need to be purchased, which was supposed to be purchased by the 15th of this month. And if it's not purchased within the next week or so, we're gonna lose that contract, and then we're gonna have to buy salt regularly, which costs the city more money than being on a contract deal with the county. So that's one of our biggest issues that we have with the budget not being passed, because a lot of times when the snow comes and we have to buy salt, we have to wait, and waiting causes a lot of issues with residents not being able to get up the hill, accidents. We can't move no salt. We don't have no salt. So that's one of the biggest issues that will affect everybody, including lives. So that's one of the issues that my main concern, along with all the other things like our lawnmowers that's in the shop, our street light contractor who have to put the street lights up and bulbs up, who can't get paid. So those issues, the budget is highly needed as soon as possible.
Okay, I have a question to ask you. With the two tow trucks, two salt trucks be ready for the winter? The two new ones we got.
Them two. Well, we don't have any new trucks as we speak. If we get new trucks, we'll be highly appreciated. The trucks we have now are from 2014, and we in need of new trucks.
Hey, I wanted to ask the mayor something because I see his hands up. Didn't we order two new trucks?
So thank you for that, Council Vice President. You passed legislation allowing me to order two new salt trucks, a street sweeper, an ambulance, and a pumper truck. Not to forget, you passed legislation allowing us to accept the FEMA grant for a 100-foot ladder truck, which is about $1.3 million. Although you passed the legislation as a body, without passing the permanent appropriations, I can't execute these contracts, or I can't even move them forward. So we had the quotes and they're ready to go. We're waiting on the permanent appropriations to be passed in order to do this. And we are kind of in jeopardy with the FEMA grant because that has to be executed in a certain amount of time. And the build out of that piece of equipment is 1.5 years flat.
How many trucks do we have on the way, the snow trucks?
They're not on the way, but you passed legislation for 2 new salt trucks. But again, they haven't been ordered without the finances being in place to pay for them, appropriated, I should say.
Okay, so as soon as we get the money, we're gonna have 2 on the way, right?
Yes, I'll be able to go ahead and negotiate and place the order for them. Yes.
Negotiate, you got
Okay. I would like to thank you. Next, any other question by the counselor? I would like you to speak.
Can you hear me? Okay, I think we're moving forward. I just wanna maybe later have the mayor say something about the 28 million I saw in the paper a couple of days. We'll get half of it in the first 6 months and the other half, and that may help us. So I'm ready, Madam President, to move on to permanent appropriation so we can get this done and the other stuff. Okay, but Madam Vice President, ordinance 2621, please.
Any more questions before we move on?
I got a question. Unfortunately, I came in a little bit paused in the situation, but I want to ask if the mayor can share some of the other outstanding requirements that we have that may be held up due to not being able to provide our portion of the bills that are due. I know you talked about some of the vehicles that they're almost about to repossess, which would be a bad situation for a municipality that actually has the resource to pay those bills. Are there any other exceptional bills that are outstanding that don't have to be outstanding at this point?
Thank you for that question. So many of you may have remember, we talked about these vehicles. We ordered them last year, but because of the COVID, a lot of plants were shut down and the delivery of vehicles took so long. So when they said, hey, we got these vehicles, we're bringing them to you, we accepted them with our fingers crossed that we would get the appropriations passed to pay for them. 30 days has gone by and we haven't got the appropriations passed, not the dealership, but the financing arm, which is Ford, has called for these vehicles. They want the paddy wagon back and they want the building and housing department, they want those vehicles back, right? Because they can sell them. These vehicles are in demand, and because of the COVID, the production isn't there. Many of you will remember back when I was on council, that was 16, 15, Rumpke was going to stop collecting trash because we hadn't paid them. That is $72,000 a month. And we have not paid them yet because we're trying to juggle. We have the money, but because it's not appropriated, we have to be mindful on who we pay and when, so that we meet that 85%. And we don't want to get back into that position where Rumpke, where they won't pick up trash, or they threaten to cut us off. You also have your healthcare, right? Which is very dangerous to mess around with people with healthcare. You go to the doctor, you present your card, and they look and say, okay, well, East Cleveland hasn't, because we're self-insured, East Cleveland hasn't paid their healthcare, and they deny your service. Not saying that would happen, but we'd hate to put that in place where that could happen. So we have that. There are vehicles in the shop. I had to ask the guy for the Caterpillar equipment not to deliver it because he was supposed to deliver it, but he wants to be paid for it. And again, that's a sewer district grant, but we can't pay for it because 85% of expenditures, not reimbursable. It's whatever you spend. So I hope that covers it. Not to forget that we do have minimum manning per the fire department. And you don't want to mess with the unions and also the police. If we can't pay the detectives, if something happens to then go out and do overtime, we won't get that done as well. So I hope that answers your question. I tried to cover as many different departments as I could.
Thank you, Mayor. That does put a lot of things in perspective, and we do appreciate the information.
Thank you. And I want to thank Councilman Nate Martin for spending long hours going over the budget with me and studying, so we know that we need to pass this.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Thank you very much. So, Madam President, if you
We're gonna move forward.
let's go to 20.
Nate, we get ready to do it. Clerk, please,
Read it.
legislation.
Yes. Thank you. This is ordinance number 2621, an ordinance to make appropriations in various funds for the current expenses and other expenditures of the city of East Cleveland for the period between January 1st, 2021 and December 31st, 2021, and declaring an emergency in order to assure funding for police and fire services. This is requested by Finance Director Charles Ian, sponsored by Corinne Stevenson, Council President.
Madam Vice President, I will sponsor legislation 2621.
I would also like to co-sponsor.
We're gonna,
And you got
Second,
also want to,
second.
he wants to co-sponsor.
I would also, I was trying to be patient.
I would like to
also
put them
to
three down for the co-sponsor.
Okay,
Councilman Smith also wants to.
Councilman Smith wants to be a co-sponsor
So
too.
all four.
All four of us. So I'm gonna sponsor all four of us.
Yeah,
And if you could open up the discussion, I just need to say for the record, that we've been dealing with this budget for about 5 months back and forth. And I think we discussed it till, the time hell freezes over. I think the council is ready to move, we can move this city forward. Thank you, Madam Vice President. Okay.
the three will be sponsoring it, and we could go into discussion.
Is there any discussion?
Are there any discussion?
Not take the vote.
Madam President, let's move it right now.
to call the roll.
Could you please call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Councilor Austin,
Yay.
Councilor Martin,
Yay.
Councilor Smith,
Yay.
Councilor Gowdy,
Yay.
Yes,
ordinance number 2621 has passed
as an emergency.
as an emergency.
As an emergency. Just for the record, do we do this, Will and Hillers, can you hear? Just for the record, Will and Hillers, do we need to say emergency to make sure this is going right? Do we need to say that or not? Was it favorable?
It's in the preamble.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right.
Are
I wanna
there
say- I wanna
attachments
say
in the
thank
back?
Yeah, are the attachments that we talked about at the library, is it attached there, Will and Hillers?
Yeah, the
Yes.
attachment, I went to the office earlier and Tracy, Deputy Clerk, Eugenius Peters has the attachment.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Could you
Thank
please
you.
move on, Clerk?
Yes.
What's the next one? Okay, the next legislation, Madam Vice President, is 1821. That's one that went to 24-hour rule, I think.
No,
No, it's not, okay.
no.
Oh, that's the, salary upgrade. Okay,
For the voters.
the vote, it has to, just for the record, if I can
Hold
speak.
on, Nate.
Oh,
Madam Clerk, could you read it into the record? Thank you.
I'm sorry, Madam Vice President.
It's on the move.
He got excited over it.
This is ordinance number 18-21, an ordinance for the submission of the electors of the city of East Cleveland, Ohio, a proposed amendment to increase the salaries provided by section 101A, council, and subsection D of the section 113, the mayor, respectively, and declaring an emergency to make the ballot deadline. This is requested and sponsored by Councilor Nathaniel Martin.
Any discussion?
I just want to say that our mayor has been doing very fine as far as I'm concerned. I'm gonna give my opinion. And it's a lot of time in this that most people don't have a clue. Like, when having this meeting, we've been on the phone off and on almost hourly the last 3 or 4 days to make sure that we're on the same page. And it's time for us to upgrade. This is an upgrade. The mayor hasn't had a raise in 30 years. All the mayors and the council hasn't had a raise in 30 years. It's an upgrade, and it's not going to break the bank. So I think it's time. That's one reason why I put the appropriation first, because I was advised by my colleagues, Austin and Smith, that's the most important thing. So I think we're ready to move on this. Again, the people have to vote on it. When we talk about the health insurance rights, people will decide. But give them that out. Thank you.
Madam
Any more
Chair,
discussion?
yes, Madam Chair, may I have the floor, please?
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you. I just asked that we put ordinance number 1821 last. I asked that we deal with ordinance number 2521, the transfers, and resolution number 2721, the fiscal recovery plan. I beg of you to let's handle those first.
Councilman Smith, it don't make no difference. We can ready to move on this right now.
Okay.
All the same meeting, we right here. We can do this now.
You know, everybody can hear them in the background telling you no. We need to deal
Better, we can move on
transfers
this now.
first. We need to deal with
We
the
can
people
move on
first
to this
before we
now.
deal with
Let's move
ourselves.
on this. It's on the agenda. Everything is moving forward.
See, Nate Martin, this is why I agreed to amend the agenda.
Do it,
My God, what's the difference?
I'm all right if we put it last. Come on.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm okay.
Thank you.
Just put it last, God. You ain't a big deal.
Thank you, Councilman Martin.
We'll do it last. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Martin. Thank you for thinking about the people first before us. Thank you.
That
Put it
is,
last, God. So
the people still have to vote on it
Right, you
regardless
still
of
gotta-
the
you
fact.
still gotta
It
go
ain't
to the
about us. It is about the people.
Okay, let's move to the next. Put that last. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Smith. We're doing that. Brother Smith, we'll do that last. Let's go. Move to the next legislation.
Thank you.
I think it's 1421. Is that the next one?
Well, if we're doing all finance. Yes.
Yeah, and Madam Clerk, we're gonna move from 1821 math, the last thing on the agenda. Okay,
Okay,
all right.
so can we do Already know you're 25, gonna vote 27, 21?
Yeah, do all that. We make 1821 the last piece of legislation. Okay.
Okay. Next, we have ordinance number 25-21. An ordinance providing for the schedule of interfund transfers of the funds between all funds and declaring an emergency. This is requested by the Director of Finance. This is sponsored by Corinne Stevenson, Council President.
I'd like to co-sponsor this legislation.
Madam Vice President, I'll co-sponsor that legislation with Councilman Austin. Okay.
Madam Clerk, I also would like to co-sponsor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Call the roll.
No. Is there any discussion?
Madam President, Vice President, can we have, discussion about this, please?
Somebody needs to close their mic.
Is our finance director online?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Was there a question?
They asked if you could be so kind as to discuss some of the transfers and their relevance, if you will.
The transfers are needed to close some of the fund deficits. They're in funds. The transfers are coming from the general fund because the general fund has enough resources to cover those fund deficits. Street fund is one of them, where Antonio, Director Marshall, and his staff does most of the operations. And so we're transferring money from the general fund to cover some of their costs. Some of the capital improvement projects, we're also transferring funds to support those vehicle purchases that the mayor mentioned and some of the other acquisitions that council has already passed in the various months. So that's pretty much the highlight of why these transfers are needed.
Discussion.
Move it, Vice President.
Roll
move it.
call.
We can call for the vote.
Counselor Austin,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith,
Yay.
Counselor Gowdy,
Nay. Because if we bring it back at the end, we can.
Would this, although we said it was an emergency today, does that equate to the fact we've already had it on the agenda during our last meeting as a second read, or how does this work?
Mr. Austin, we definitely gotta move on.
Hold on, wait, hold on. So he can't get his question answered?
So the law director's right here.
Okay,
The motion had failed, we gotta move to the agenda.
So you all failed the transfers? Oh, okay.
No, the transfers passed.
Did they?
Yeah, the transfers passed.
Okay, great, okay.
Okay, good, because the Madam Vice President just said that they passed.
It was
Thank
an
you.
emergency.
So did they pass or fail?
yeah,
25, 21 passed, and 26, 21.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, it did not, it was emergency.
Okay, hold on.
wait a minute.
Brother
Councilman
Smith,
Martin.
go for emergency, and Brother Austin, all right?
Wait a minute.
So it failed.
No, 26, 21 passed, and 25, 21 passed.
The chair is saying that it didn't pass.
Who's,
Clarification.
Can we get a clarification from the clerk?
yeah, Victoria?
Come on, clerk.
Unicorn.
This would have, I think this would have been an automatic second read for this piece of legislation. So
No, it's not. This is not a second read. This is an emergency, a first read.
No, it's an emergency. What happened?
It's an emergency. Here's the law director. If Madam Vice Chair, Vice President, would be recognized.
Madam Dottie?
I'm gonna recognize Ms. Simmons.
Yes, thank you. The transfers has a new number. It's a new piece of legislation. Therefore, if it's an emergency, it's an entirely new piece of legislation. This transfers are authorized by Section 62 of the charter. And all it does is just reconcile the deficits that were made due to the fact that the city proactively spent some of the monies that were awarded by grants to purchase vehicles and to make certain other expenditures. So this just is a line item transfer in order to reconcile the books. It doesn't add anything to the budget. It doesn't take away anything from the budget. It's just bookkeeping.
There you go. Thank you.
We definitely gonna do that vote over and we can do that at the end.
Thank you, Madam Gotti.
Do we need to make a motion or something?
we
Order.
would-
Vote.
The order has already
I
been
got you.
suspended.
It's already open.
I would like to make a motion to allow for a reconsideration and or respectfully revote for the legislation that was recently addressed.
A reconsideration is,
Reconsideration
Yeah,
for more information that was just provided.
Everybody voted yes.
Thank you.
So you asking for a reconsideration?
That's correct.
Is that the right number, Ms. Simmons?
yes, at the end of the meeting.
Okay, I'll second the reconsideration.
All
Thank
right.
Okay?
Yeah,
Okay, you want to move to
move
the,
it to the end and we're gonna roll call.
Okay.
We have to vote on, we have to call for the vote now to make sure that
Consideration.
we're online.
There's a motion.
Counselor Austin,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
yay,
Yay.
Counselor Gowdy,
Yay.
on ordinance 25-21 for pass, but we'll move it to the end of the agenda. It will be moved to the end of the agenda.
This was just for the motion, it wasn't for the ordinance.
It
to
was
pass.
just for the motion to. And we getting ready to move on to the next legislation.
Just one moment.
Yeah, 21, right?
Next, we have resolution number 27-21, a resolution approving the mayor's financial fiscal recovery plan in accordance with section 118.06 of the Ohio Revised Code for submission to the Financial Planning and Supervision Commission for the period January 1st, 2021 and December 31st, 2021, and declaring an emergency. This is requested by Brandon L. King, Mayor, sponsored by Korean Stevenson, Council President.
Vice President, I will sponsor legislation 2721 and move for its adoption. Okay?
I would also like to
Question.
co-sponsor the legislation. Second, on his motion to move for adoption.
Discussion, because I have a question and I would like to ask the mayor what's going on with the jail in the plan.
The jail that's in the financial recovery plan is just to be rehabbed and continually updated. As you know, last year, we had issues with the jail. We had it re-inspected and it passed the second inspection. So that's what we're trying to keep the upkeep on that jail so that we keep continually pass the inspections on it.
Can I make a comment also? Hello?
We might have a conflict. My best friend is in the room, Michael Smith.
Can I make a comment?
You can go, Mr. Austin.
Yeah, I also want to make a comment about the jail. There was a proposal to have a regional jail so that the East Cleveland can basically get out of the long-term jail business. However, due to some things that happened at the Cuyahoga County Jail and other facilities nearby, that plan had to be respectfully rescinded. And due to that plan having been rescinded due to some of the activities that were going on in the other jail centers, I think that put the city of East Cleveland back into the jail business, awaiting arraignment and or decision to move those folks onto another court or another long-term facility. So this is not a long-term facility either way, but there was a plan to actually move the jail requirement to a regional facility that did not pan out. Mayor King, if you'd be so kind as to talk about that, please.
Yeah, so Sweatley is here. So if you remember years ago, we went to regional dispatch and we're going to regional jail. The regional dispatch didn't pan out for the county the way they had hoped. So that's why they sent the dispatch back. So I do remember the jail. We were looking at moving the jail as well. You want to elaborate on that?
I think Councilman Austin covered it all. In the fiscal recovery plan, we were going to outsource those two programs. And Councilman Austin was also correct about the centralization of those two services. We never had the opportunity to centralize the jail because of the obvious problems that Cuyahoga County has had. It's in the fiscal recovery plan. And the reason that you don't see it removed is because you only amend the plan every year to include new things that you're going to do to have the city recover. So the plan will grow and grow and grow until we come out of fiscal emergency. And you'll see things in that plan that may or may not have happened, but was part of the plan. It may or may not happen, but you don't simply take it out. You just move on and you amend it for the following year. So dispatch, the mayor is correct, by April 1st, the county will be out of the business. They are simply getting out of the dispatch business altogether, and every community that was involved have to rebuild their own dispatch departments.
I have another question. How much is we planning on to put in the jail this year?
Okay.
For repairs?
Oh, for repairs? So we're just looking to bring it up to code and passable code. I would say, if I had to guesstimate, less than $10,000 should really do it.
Come on, Mayor, we gotta do better than that. We got millions.
Well, the challenge is we simply don't have enough room in that jail. I mean, it's not much you can do except rehab what you have in the current space that you have it. So our plans would be to bring it up to a code so that it passes the inspection when they come out. I think it's June or July, they'll be out to inspect it.
All right, we're gonna call it a vote, but we could have did better than that. You know that, Mayor. At least 50,000.
Hey, as council, if we'll talk more about it. And if you'd like to see something in there, no problem. No problem at all.
Okay, clerk, will you please, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Austin,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith, Counselor Smith,
Counselor Smith.
Yay, I was on mute. Yay.
Counselor Gowdy.
Yay.
Resolution number 2721 has passed.
Next piece of legislation. Clerk, Madam Clerk, could you read it into the record?
Yes.
Which one
Are
is
we-
it, Victoria?
Are we doing the 14
1821.
or you want 1421?
1421.
1821? Okay. Next, we have ordinance number 1821. Let me do this.
Did you pass the financial recovery fund?
I'm
Yeah.
trying to,
You did that first.
ordinance number 1821, an ordinance for the submission to the electors of the city of East Cleveland, Ohio, a proposed amendment to increase the salaries provided by section 101A, council, and subsection D of the section 113, the mayor, respectively, and declaring an emergency to make the ballot deadline. This is requested and sponsored by Councilor Nathaniel Martin.
Madam Vice President, I sponsor ordinance 1821 and move for its adopted for it to go to the ballot for people to vote. Thank you.
Any more discussion?
Yes, I just have a real question. I'm talking real softly, so I don't be accused of yelling. I just want to know, why are we thinking about ourselves before we address ordinance number 521 for the people? The meeting is not about to end. We have plenty of time to go over ordinance number 1821 after we handled the business that should have been handled months ago. I am begging my colleagues to handle the city finances first, and then I will have no problem voting on ordinance number 1821. I am begging you.
I'm begging you to handle this right now.
Okay, I will call for the vote. Watch this.
So you,
Call for the vote.
what have we, what have we
comment?
not covered?
Transfers.
no, you're not gonna skip around this. I've been doing, I was being real nice. It is a big deal when it comes down to this agenda. It's on the agenda. He's not speaking.
Just switching one thing. This piece of
I'm not
paper.
switching nothing.
Be quiet.
I'm not switching nothing.
It's not gonna pass. We can't pass without this support. Come on. Come
Thank
on.
you,
transfers.
thank you, Councilman Martin.
Right.
Thank you, Councilman Martin. I can hear you.
I make a recommendation.
Councilor Austin, you can speak.
Councilwoman Gowdy,
Mhm.
first, I want to commend you for your efforts in this meeting to make sure that we can get to a place where we are indeed appreciating the work of our residents and also the work of the city employees. And this is our last effort and or attempt to make sure that we put those efforts first and respectfully compensate those that should be compensated with good service from the city to our residents, and then good response from the city to our city employees. So if you could be so kind as to, as a gesture to Mr. Marshall, who show up every time and say that, you know, you matter, we care, and let's do this for the people. So this is one last effort to really take it back, you know, just a little bit, and let's do this last piece of legislation that pertains to the benefit of the people first. And I am 100% in with providing the additional support so that those that serve on council after me can truly be compensated for their effort. So if you could be so kind to allow this piece of legislation to be moved up so we can get the people's business taken care of, much like Councilor Smith said, I would gratefully appreciate the consideration. And you don't have to, but I would really like it if you did. Thank you.
I like to respond to what you have said. This is, you had supported the contract, and you also had supported everything else that we was coming forward with. I'm just asking to support this now because it's already out here and we just need to move forward. And I'm asking the clerk to call the.
On what piece of legislation? What piece?
The 20,
14, 21?
1821.
No.
I would like the mayor to speak.
No,
Me.
I'm asking you, we're down to 2 pieces of legislation. I'm asking you please to do the 1421 and do 1820. I'm asking you please do it last, please. Right, do the transfers, then we can do 1821 last, please.
Mayor.
Council Vice President, I'm really proud of the entire council today. I mean, it's been a great seat here watching you do so well, work together to get this city moving forward, to get these pieces passed. I have to agree with Councilman Martin. This is just an easy fix. Yes, handle the city's business first, and then that stuff second. Council Vice President, it's only gonna take us another 2 minutes. I promise, and I think we'll be done.
Ms.
It's your
Emmons?
meeting. It's your meeting, though, so.
Ms. Emmons, do you have any questions?
No, I think it's been perfect so far. And I would implore you to, you know, sometimes you have to give in a little to guys in order to make them happy, okay? Please.
Well, it's really up to me, but we're gonna move to the transfers, and I'm humble enough to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have ordinance number 25-21, an ordinance providing for the schedule of interfund transfers of funds between all funds and declaring an emergency. This is requested by the Director of Finance, sponsored by Corinne Stevenson. It has been added that Councilors Austin, Martin, and Smith will be co-sponsors of this legislation. And we're going to revote.
If it's in order, I will sponsor it again, ordinance number 2521, and move for its adoption.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Any discussion?
May I call the roll?
Yes, you may, Madam
Councilor
Clerk.
Austin,
Yay.
Councilor Martin,
Yay.
Councilor Smith,
Yay.
Councilor Gowdy,
Yay.
ordinance number 25-21 has passed.
Thank you. Now the last piece.
We have two. You want to do, okay. So next we have ordinance number 14-21. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for 302,000
Yeah.
200, oh, sorry, for $302,240 with OHM Advisors of 6001 Euclid Avenue, Suite 130, Cleveland, Ohio, 44103, for execution of a member community infrastructure program, MCIP grant from the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, NEORSD, to improve the East Cleveland sewer infrastructure involving the Dugway East Eddy Road Branch, SSIPE study, and the Wheeler Avenue Design and Construction Project, and declaring an emergency. This is requested by Mayor Brandon L. King. It is sponsored by Timothy Austin, Councilor at Large, and it is co-sponsored by Councilors Nathaniel Martin and Ernest Smith.
This was in my ward, and I wonder why it was held up in the first place.
Right. I like to
Want to
sponsor.
co-sponsor this.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. I like to sponsor this legislation and move for its adoption.
I'll second Councilman Austin's motion. Thank you.
Discussion?
Yeah, it was held up the other day at the meeting, and I think most of us know why it was held up. I'm definitely for this piece of legislation. This piece of legislation should have been passed the other day. I just have a quick question because the agenda that's in front of me doesn't have this piece of legislation on it, and I want everything to be done correctly. So am I looking at, is there another updated agenda that's possibly
That's
on
why
there?
we voted to add it on.
Right. We made a motion.
I didn't vote to add that on, but I would like to. I would like to.
Brother Smith, we changed it, we put a motion for the 24-hour rule to add this to the agenda, sir. That's what we did.
We did.
All right. No problem. Thank you. Thank
I
you,
would
Madam
like to
Chair.
provide a little
Madam
information. Okay, well, or we can call for the vote.
Austin,
Yes.
and
I didn't-
Austin,
Come on, Victoria.
Okay, great. If anyone would like, for the benefit of the audience, there was a study done several months ago by the Cuyahoga County Public Works, as well as in collaboration with the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. They took a look at areas in the city where flooding was most likely to occur. And through that study, there is this opportunity for us to have some of those flooding issues resolved, as well as our infrastructure, the pipes underground upgraded. And hopefully this will help us and our residents, receive less, stormwater and or black water is what they call it, in their basements and in places where it should not be. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Oh, I'm muted, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Councilor Austin,
Yay.
Councilor Martin,
Yay.
Councilor Smith, Councilor Smith,
Yay, I apologize. Yay.
Councilor Gowdy.
Yeah.
Ordinance number 14-21 has passed.
That's it.
Let's
Thank you.
move on.
That's the last one last case, right?
Yes. Next, we have ordinance 18-21, an ordinance for the submission to the electors of the city of East Cleveland, Ohio, a proposed amendment to increase the salaries provided by section 101A, council, and subsection D of the section 113, the mayor, respectively, and declaring an emergency to make the ballot deadline. This is requested and sponsored by Councilor Nathaniel Martin.
Madam Vice President, our sponsor orders 1821 and move for its adoption to go to the ballot box for people to vote on. Thank you.
Any co-sponsor? Any discussion?
You need a second.
I need a second.
I second it.
Thank you.
Can I make a comment about this legislation?
Yes, you can.
When I looked at this legislation, it kind of reminded me about some of the comments that were already made. So when you take a look at some of the younger persons that are interested in serving the city, they really can't afford to be as available if they had to take a full-time position at a company. Adding the additional dollars to this opportunity may allow some of those interested parties that may thrive in this line of service, if you will, the option of going to work on a full-time job and or taking a part-time job and still being able to sustain some manner of existence without having to compromise their beliefs, integrity, or not being able to feed their families. So I think this legislation is prudent, and based on the available resources today, it may be the best time to move forward something along these lines, so that the mayor can actually live a life where he can actually exist and thrive and really be compensated for the additional effort that it takes to actually negotiate and or navigate the things that we need as a city, as well as giving the council members as they sit today the revenue and or resources to do more for the community than the limited $300 per month may be able to provide. So I do think that this is an opportunity to allow a lot of areas to thrive. So subject to your questions and or concerns, that's all I have, and this may be the best time to allow this to go forward. Thank you, Councilman Martin.
Any more discussion?
Yes, ma'am. I want to thank Councilman Martin because I truly believe in this instance, he is definitely thinking about the future. And as Councilman Austin and Councilman Martin stated, there's a lot of young potential elected officials around the great city of East Cleveland. And but they have to have enough funding to take care of their family, take care of their self. It's already that people barely want to get in this line of work. We here, as we sit today, we won't be here forever. And it's kind of like with the police in the fire, while we have a high turnover rate as far as good policemen and good firefighters coming and leaving, we must alleviate all of that. And this is we already started. So this is another piece to what was already started. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll? The Financial Director, Charles, you can speak.
Okay. I guess that was.
Oh, that was earlier. Call the roll, please, madam.
We'll call the roll. Councilor Austin?
Yay.
Councilor Martin?
Yay.
Councilor Smith?
Yay.
Councilor Gowdy?
Yay.
Ordinance number 18-21 has passed.
I am so glad that we can work together today and moved on and get this stuff passed. So everybody is happy, the people is happy, and the workers is happy today. Y'all have a blessed. No.
Next we have remarks and requests of the public. 3-minute time limit, please.
On the record, like I have something to say.
Oh,
She
I'm
waved her
sorry.
hand.
Excuse me.
I gotta
No.
recognize Ms. Simmons.
Okay, this has to go to the Board of Elections, so the clerk of council has to certify the last piece of legislation so that it gets to the Board of Elections in a timely manner. And I will work with her in order to make sure that that is done correctly, okay?
Thank you.
Arts from the club. 3 minutes.
You can call it 3 minutes, but you don't call it the time when the council thinking they have time limited to that. Number one, council, you cannot add anything to the agenda at a special meeting that does not appear on the agenda. You are totally violated the law. You cannot add anything to agenda at a special meeting that's not on your agenda. Number two, council is a part-time job. It's not a full-time job. When we begin to get some revenue in, or what have you, and build some houses and rehab houses and things, and get some revenue flowing, then you can consider these things. Number one, council has a responsibility. They respond to the citizens. Same go with administration. And the key here is communication. You must listen to the citizen as well as you must listen. A fool will not listen and become a bigger fool, but a wise person will listen and become wiser. And so I'm asking this council and administration to listen to the citizen as well as communicate with the citizen and not have selected people whom you speak with or what have you. So that is not the way government operates. You are to represent the city. You are to represent the entire city, not special people. And the budget, I thought they had passed a temporary budget to last until March the 31st. And if they spend it, you come back to council and ask for additional or explain why you spent your budget or went over your budget. That's the same way with everything else comes into the city. It should come before council. Same as with contracts and property. Anything that entered into contract, that's what has caused people to go to jail. Contract. You don't have the information, you allege that you didn't get the information, and now you're passing stuff, you still don't know what you're passing. You just
Time is up, Mr. Mays now. No. Your time is up. It's
your
3
time
minutes.
is up too.
Mr. O'Mays, you just talking right now, and I respect that you was Mr. O'Mays, and I understand that, but your time is up. So you
Right.
that your time is up.
Well, you guys need to respect the citizens and the respect of their time.
You know I
too.
respect you
You have
100%.
5 minutes to speak on issues and you go for neither.
Who's next, Mr. Irving?
That's the problem. Listen. All right, here.
Anybody else want to speak?
Good afternoon, council. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I find it a quite disrespect that you hear a counselor rushing the vice president to do things that are supposed to be done in order. I find it a disrespect that I'm glad we got stuff done, but like O'May says, let's do it legal and do it right. Interest rate needs of the people. I'll be glad when y'all realize how much interest rate needs that the people really do need. Y'all step back and look at our city from one end to the other, blighted. Nothing new, no restaurants, not even a family center. I want y'all to smile about it just like you laughed and giggled and clapped and applauded. This is the most disrespectful city that you're looking at. I know the rumor's gonna say, hey, Irby, you need to move. My house paid for. I'm done.
Any more public? We would like to get the mayor for his response. Go and get him, Ms. Hammonds.
Can I, until I get him, can I address Mr. O'May's
Yes.
concern? Okay, with reference to a special meeting, I refer you to 103.03. And it does say a copy of the agenda of each regular meeting and a copy of any notices of special meetings shall be filed with the clerk at least 72 hours prior to the time of the meeting is scheduled, unless accompanied with the emergency reason for any shorter notice. Also, referring you to East Cleveland Municipal Code Rule of Order, Chapter 113 of the ordinances with reference to special meeting schedules, special meetings of the Executive, Finance, Personnel and Appointments, Contracts and Property, General Services, Administration, Health, Safety, Service Committees called pursuant to 103.01 of the ordinance shall be scheduled. And at the special meeting, the council can make its rules and suspend the order of the rules at such time as may be determined by the council. And if I recollect, the council did appropriately make a motion and decide to amend the, to invoke the change in the rule of order pursuant to Rule 9. Also, with reference to the charter, 103, Section 103 of the charter does also provide for special meetings. And with that, it shall be open and public and except for the purposes as permitted by the law of Ohio. Finally, Section E of the charter of 103, subsection E, this section shall be liberally construed to require public officials to take official action and to conduct all deliberations upon official business only in open meetings. So that means that the council determines when there's such an emergency that it needs to take special official action. And I think that that was done pursuant to the laws of the city of East Cleveland, as well as its organizing charter. That's all. Thank you for allowing me to take the time of the mayor, and I commend you for your responsiveness and your responsibility that the responsibilities that have been met for the citizens of East Cleveland.
I would like to thank you for that. And can we, is the mayor back?
Okay, yeah, Mayor, I think you.
The remarks from the mayor. I want to just thank you, Willie Hammonds, for that, reading it out. The remarks from the mayor.
And I just like to thank
I think you're not.
council. I'd just like to thank city council for the work they put in today in organizing this and getting the legislation passed. It is kind of unfortunate that the council president is not here. I understand prior commitments and whatnot, but for those who are here, thank you on behalf of the employees, on behalf of the residents of the great city of East Cleveland. We will continue to serve their health interests, rights, and needs. Hope I got that right, Councilman Smith. Again, thank you. It's a great day for the city of East Cleveland. Thank you.
To thank you for that remark, and also any response back from the council. Councilman Austin, you are first.
I want to second the thoughts and or comments on the gestures of appreciation for the efforts put in by the administration, by our citizens, by the residents that are on the call today, as well as the council members that stood in a gap to prevent the city from having further hardship as a result of the financial limitations that were placed on us. So again, you know, to each of you on council today, my hat is off to you. Exceptional respect, high regard, and appreciation for the things that you did today to indeed bridge the gap, hold families together, and change lives. I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you in a phenomenal partnership, and may you all be blessed and appreciated for what you do. That's all.
Any more remarks from Mr. Smith, Councilor Smith?
Madam Chair, and I say that with a big smile on my face today. There is always going to be little bumps in the road, but today I can honestly say that we rolled over those bumps. We crushed those bumps, in my opinion, and we handle business to serve the health, interest, rights, and needs of the people for our land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. Now, all we need is a little political change around here, but I'll leave that alone. Again, I want to say it again. I want to thank Councilwoman Gowdy, Councilman Nathaniel Martin, Councilman Tim Austin for coming together, putting whatever that was in the forefront as far as negativity, putting that to the back burner to handle this business that should have been handled. There was a question about the temporary budget, and I'm very surprised about our former Councilman O'Meigs, who, because, and again, I also want to go back and thank Councilman Nate Martin and Councilwoman Gowdy as they, as they were figuring out what our president is really doing. That temporary budget, we all know you can't type up something on your kitchen table and then bring it in front of council without taking it through the proper protocol, policy, and procedure. So that's why I want to again thank Councilwoman Gowdy and Councilman Martin for doubling back and correcting the wrongs that were made earlier. We all make mistakes. No one is perfect. My two colleagues thought that our new president was doing the right thing. But I can see in my opinion that as they figured out, as she canceled meeting after meeting, illegal procedure after illegal procedure, Councilman Martin and Councilwoman Gowdy, in my opinion, I might be wrong, but in my opinion, they stepped back from that to continue to serve the health, interest, rights, and needs of the people. And I just hope that we all can continue to stay on one accord, not saying that we're going to get along 24 hours. I'm talking about as far as legislation and moving this city forward on behalf of the people. Thank you very much. Before I get offline, as usual, I know you didn't think I was going to forget. I want to thank the most important entity in the great city of East Cleveland, because it's not none of us elected officials. The most important entity in the great city of East Cleveland are you, the residents, my neighbors, our neighbors, the voice of East Cleveland. Thank you for taking time out. We know that it's a new day, it's a new time as far as council meetings. What is it, Thursday, 12 noon? I'm pretty sure you have other things to do, but you took time out to join us to see about your health, interests, rights, and needs. Again, Councilwoman Gowdy and Councilman Martin, a special thank you to you two. And I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Martin, you next.
I want to thank Councilman Smith, Austin, Gowdy, our clerks, Victoria and Tracy. We call them on the weekends. We call them early in the morning. We almost take over their lives to help put this together. But we operate as a body, and we show that democracy can work when we use some reason. So thank you, Brother Smith, especially, and Brother Austin. When it comes to the salary upgrade, the people will decide. We may get it, we may not, but at least give the people a chance to shoot it down. The mayor's underpaid. I have to say that, and the council's underpaid. It hasn't had an increase in over 30 years. So it's way overdue, and it's not that big a increase. I'm hoping as we move through the rest of this year, this is a sign that we can work together. That's how this works. I'm hearing that we're being looked at around the country. I was surprised. So we want to look professional. We want to look like we know what we're doing. We want to be moving in the right direction. I agree with what was said by Smith and all. Nobody's perfect, and I talk about we're flawed all the time. But I especially want to reach out to Council Ward 2 woman, Juanita Gowdy. She moved this meeting well. She's focused. She was willing to compromise. We got it done. I think we got a fiscal commission meeting today.
No, it's
No,
canceled. It's
it was canceled, but it's done. So we can move forward. It's way overdue. Tonight at 5 o'clock, Health and Safety will be back in this room to deal with police matters. We'll do the best we can. Well, I want to thank all of you. Over the last, I guess, week or two, I woke up to a phone call. I get phone calls at midnight about what we're doing. So now we've taken care of the business. So we can get this done. We are a unique city in that 95% of East Cleveland are African Americans. I don't want people going around the country saying we can't do government, but we can. Our forefathers, our grandparents, and all of them have paid the price for us to be where we're at. And we don't benefit from this upgrade to next year, but the way one of the councilors said, either Smith or Austin, and I've said this, it's about the future. This stuff takes a lot of time. You know, I couldn't put in the time I'm putting in it if I had retired a few months ago. And when I was working a full-time job, it was a grind, running back, doing this, doing that. You get off the job, and then you hear the 8 or 9 o'clock. But we're moving forward. Keep us in prayer. And again, thank you, Juanita Gowdy. You ran a good meeting today. You got it going on, woman. Thank you.
I want to thank all my colleagues, and I want to thank the clerks from the Madam Clerks from working so hard, and we've been over this budget over and over again, and for not to pass the budget that needed to be passed so our employees can get paid was devastated. But I know that we had to do what we had to do because I feel like, you know, if you work, you need to get paid. And that's where I'm at. And I thank each and every one from tuning in. This is going to be a motion for adjourn. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. God bless you all.
God bless you.
Meeting is adjourned at 1:28 p.m.